To start this look, I'm going to get her skin ready for makeup. So what I'm doing here is priming the T-zone of her face with a mattifying primer. And that means it's going down the bridge of her nose, on her chin, kind of right under her eyes, and in the center of her forehead. And for the rest of her face, the outer areas, I'm going to be using MAC Strobe Cream. It gives her like a little glow, which is really cool for the skin, and it makes it feel really dewy and moisturized. Now I'm just going to be filling in her brows. I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow in the shade Chocolate. And I am kind of adding some extra to the front of her eyebrow. That's your preference. If you want to do that, that's fine. I just chose to kind of elongate her brow a little bit. Now, I am so sorry. I have no idea what happened. My video cut out and it came back on at this point. So I'm going to try to explain what I did the best I can. I'm so sorry about it. I'm using the Venus palette by Lime Crime, and on the outer areas of her eyes, I'm kind of not being neat at all. Like, I'm kind of just smoking it out and dragging it out. So I'm using, first I used the shade, this is Muse and Creation, and it's like a red burgundy shade with a caramel brown color, and I kind of just kept packing that on the outer part of her eye. And what I'm doing now is in the inner, like, outer part, as you can see, I mean, I kind of dragged it really far out, so at this point the outer area kind of looks somewhat halfway in. I'm going to be using the brown shade Icon, and I'm kind of packing that on right on top of some of those red and brown shades. And right here I'm using L'Oreal's Infallible eyeshadow, and that is in the shade Bottomless Java. And I'm using my finger just to pack that on. And now in the inner area, you see like it's a lighter shade. I'm using L'Oreal Infallible Amber Rush, and I'm using my finger again. So I'm kind of just letting these colors fade into each other. I'm really sorry that I lost that footage. This really sucks that you didn't get to see it. And I kind of just take a gold shade and pack it right on top. I used a lot of eyeshadows, but it was only one palette and then two drugstore eyeshadows. So it wasn't that crazy. You didn't have to go searching all over the place. And I decided to deepen the look a little bit by adding some black eyeshadow to the outer area. I would focus the color on the outer area and let it fade in towards her tear duct, but then at the end I would kind of take whatever was extra and kind of just drag it out towards the end of her brow to kind of make it look a little more grungy. I feel like this is such a half-assed tutorial. Sorry for my language, but I'm so sorry my camera cut out. That really ruined everything. And from that same Venus palette, I'm using the highlight shade Aura, and I'm putting that in her inner tear duct area. And of course, using some lashes. And I kind of use dramatic lashes because this is such a grungy look that I wanted some drama added to it. And this is again why I do the eyes first, because sometimes some glue gets places, some eyeshadow, so I'm able to use a makeup wipe to remove that without messing up her face makeup. Now using my beauty blender, I'm going to be using Estee Lauder's Double Wear Foundation, and this is in the shade Honey Bronze. Now it looks a little bit lighter than her, and that's because her neck looked a little bit lighter to me as well. So I kind of took away a little bit of color, but I do end up adding it back. once I highlight and contour. Just add a little bit of glue. Now, since the eyes got cut out, the only thing that I will say is this is kind of like a messy look, so you don't have to go crazy trying to perfect it. Just keep packing on color and blending. That's what I did. Like, I didn't go in with a heavy hand of red and a heavy hand of brown from the beginning. I did it little by little and kept packing on color and blending it out little by little. So it does look very strong, but it was blended well, and I did it over time. That's definitely the key, is just to take your time and keep blending. And of course my contour got half cut off too, but I noticed it and I kind of retraced my steps for you guys to see. So I am using the contour kit by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and on the part that's closest to her hairline I used the shade Chocolate, and to kind of have that fading into a lighter brown color I used the shade Cinnamon, and this is the deep palette, by the way. And underneath her eyes I used the shade Nude mixed with a little bit of coral. The coral was to kind of cancel out any dark areas under her eyes. So the trick is to have it going from darkest kind of to lightest, especially like your forehead. So the darker color is going to go closest to the hairline, and you can use a medium brown shade to kind of let it fade in gradually. And that's kind of what I did on her cheekbones as well. Used a kind of precise line under her cheeks for a more precise contour, and then used a lighter brown shade so that it blends into her highlight nice and gradually. And I have to say, a lot of people were complaining about the kind of the formula of this, saying that it was really thick and it was drying and it was hard to blend. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I have very oily skin, so I kind of prefer something that's a little thicker as to more creamy, because I feel like creamy stuff moves around a lot easier. This one definitely stood in place. I loved it. No matter how much I blended, I felt like her highlight didn't, disappear. And the same thing with the contour. I thought it blended in really well, and I was actually really surprised at how much I like this palette. And I'm not dragging her contour around using the Beauty Blender. I'm still dabbing. I'm dabbing and I'm kind of going in upward motions so that it fades into her highlight. You don't want to drag the contour down, you want to drag it up towards her eyes. So it really did give her a nice flush of color back to her face. And now I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, but this is the powders, and this is just to set everything. So I'm using Banana under her eyes and on her chin and down the bridge of her nose and on the center of her forehead, just to kind of highlight and also set the area. And I did mix Banana with a little bit of cream soda. It's kind of like a beige powder, because she does have quite tan skin. And to set her contour, I used Copper Brown from the contour kit and also faded it up a little bit into her highlight. Like, I dragged it up and I'm dragging the powder towards the center of her forehead as well, just to kind of give it a more gradual look from dark to light. It seems like a lot now, but if you just think about it, if you look at your face in natural lighting, you're gonna see highlights and you're gonna see contours. You're gonna see depth and you're gonna see highlights. So you're kind of removing all of that just to put it back. The blush that I'm using is a new one that I got from MAC, and it's so nice. It's Amber, I think Amber Rose? Maybe not Amber Rose, I don't know why I'm saying that. It is, yes, Amber Ring Rose. Her face looks so flawless here. I mean, it just looks awesome. I love the color that she has flushed in her face. And I'm using the new Jaclyn Hill Champagne Pop highlight, and it's amazing. I definitely wasn't gonna get it at first because I thought I had way too many highlights and this was probably just gonna be like something else that I had. But these Becca highlighters are to die for, seriously. I love them, and the Champagne Pop color looks so good on tan skin, and I think that's why I was afraid that it was gonna be too light, but not at all. Absolutely looks awesome on tan skin. I'm kind of just like bathing her in this highlight. I love putting highlight on the chin, down the bridge of the nose, right above the arch of the eyebrows, and on the top of the cheekbones, just to bring a nice little dewiness to the skin. Now I'm just using Muse and Creation on the lower lash line for her, just to add some color and definition down there. And I'm just using a flat blending brush. At this point, I would just suggest as well to make sure that you tap or blow the excess off of your brush before doing the lower lash line, just so that you don't get any fallout on your face. You definitely don't want to wipe off any makeup at this point. You definitely, we put a lot of layers on, and it's going to be hard to make everything look seamless again. Just applying mascara to her lower lashes. And the lip pencil I'm using is Burgandy by MAC. And I'm using the liquid lipstick by Hot Makeup in the shade Midnight. I'm using my own lip brush just because I kind of don't like using those brushes that come with them. They're not as precise as I'd like them to be, so I just like using a stiff kind of lip brush to apply them. I'm sorry. And once the lips are done, the look is complete. I really apologize for my video cutting off. I promise I'll make sure my next one doesn't do that. And I really appreciate you guys watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye guys!